people from Cuba, from Mexico, and from the United States. They're all talking about coral reef ecosystem health. We talked about lots of different ways to evaluate coral ecosystem health, and these are the people here that are the experts in the world. So I'm really happy that we're all here working on the same thing. It's really important that we come together and talk about how coral reef ecosystems are doing in the Gulf of Mexico.
I'm really excited to be participating in the Tri-National Initiative for the Coral Reef Report Card for the Gulf of Mexico. We have been working at NOAA on a report card for the Florida Keys and Florida as a whole and the Flower Garden Banks off the coast of Texas. But just looking at those U.S. territories doesn't give us the full picture of what's going on because the entire ecosystem is connected. So in order to really get a full picture of what's happening with these reefs, we have to include Mexico data and Cuba data. So we're really excited to be participating.
The Gulf of Mexico is definitely a very unique ecosystem. It's an large enclosed ocean basin. It's very deep, but also has very shallow areas. It has one of the largest continental shelves in the world, and it's influenced by many different factors, like strong river discharge from the Mississippi River, for example, and other large rivers in Mexico. All of the life that is within the Gulf of Mexico will be communicated or exported to other parts of the Atlantic through the Gulf Stream.
It's important to detect changes in such a large body of water. The Gulf of Mexico is the largest enclosed body of water in the Atlantic Ocean. It's bordered by 3 countries, so there's a lot of change happening. You have oil extraction, you have tourism, climate change, sea level rise, and we have to be able to track these changes and see how the ecosystem is changing over time. Why? Because with that we need to know if we need to have interventions, for example, coral restoration or the creation of more protected areas. So it's very important to have an idea of how well these ecosystems are tolerating the changes we are imposing on them.
Well, I think it's important to do a report card because it takes science down to a level that everybody can understand. Instead of as a scientist, we're used to looking through large, complicated reports with lots of details. Those are not necessarily a type of document that everybody can look through and get something out of. So the idea of a report card is to take all that information and distill it down, to put it in a useful format for people of all different ranges, from the general public to decision makers it's for a wide audience.
Report cards can be applied by managers, by politicians, by decision makers. They can help spot immediately the priorities for engagement and solutions to some of the shared problems we have in the Gulf of Mexico. The coral reefs are fragile systems that are under a lot of threats and pressures, and we need to come together. We have a shared basin, the Gulf of Mexico is a shared basin, and we need to look at these problems together.
The possible indicators that could be used to assess the region are the standard ones for all coral reefs around the world, like coral cover, macroalgae cover, fish biomass, water temperature, and also those indicators associated to anthropogenic pressure, like number of vessels operating in fishing, transport, etc., and population levels and urbanization levels. All these indicators can be gathered from different sources and could give a really wide picture of the states of the coral reefs in the Gulf of Mexico.
So we have many different threats. We obviously have all the threats coming from the coast. It's coastal development, all the watershed management, but also we have all the oil industry happening in the area. We have all the transport, which we didn't discuss too much here, but it's a threat that is happening as well, the cheap transport within the area. And obviously one of the most important threats that are happening worldwide is the climate change, no? Especially in the way of increasing sea level temperatures, rising sea level rise, and ocean acidification.
I think the more people get involved in it, it can help. So when people see that this is happening, what's significant that we're doing now is we're creating this report card. Not everyone is going to see it, but those people that see it can get an understanding of what's my impact, how am I creating this? All of these changes are created by humans, right? There's some that are weather and things, but most of them are created by humans. So it's important for people to understand their role in that, because in the end, it's about us. It's about us consuming less. It's about us getting outside more. It's about us making political statements and changing public policy. So I think it's very important that this gets to people. There's another area as well that people should participate in these report cards. People they can be scientists. Citizen science for reefs is very popular. People can be involved in this. And when they're involved in gathering the data, they become part of the solution.